I can't hear you. Hey, you're mute.
Am I out of mute?
There we go. There we go.
We can work these things out eventually.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, Sean. How are you?
Good.
Oh, look at that beard.
That is a beast.
Looks like himself.
It's so in a little tub of paint, or like I ran through
We're getting
a
old,
cobweb.
Jamie. We're getting old.
I know. How the fuck did that happen?
You
I still feel
amazing.
young.
What's that?
I still feel young, but then I look at myself in the mirror and be like, oh, look at old photos. And you're like, whoa.
You guys look amazing. I don't know what type of green smoothie you two have been fucking drinking over there in the mornings, but I want some of it.
Chicken and broccoli.
Mate, thank you so much for catching up. Like I feel I'm so happy. I know you guys are super busy, and I don't know how you do it, to be honest. You guys are just amazing, absolutely amazing. You really are.
Always a privilege just to talk to you, to get some of your free time.
Yes.
You're one of our favorite people, and every time we talk to anyone who's thinking about getting into fitness, we say that the benchmark for personal trainers, the absolute benchmark is you. There's no one has ever come close.
Fuck, am I recording this? This is the best. Oh, thank you. Mate, that's the best. You guys have come out with the big guns. I got fuck all to go with that. Other than I love you guys and you're amazing. That is the best. Oh, you guys look incredible as well. Like, I see the photos, I see what you guys are doing. I'm just like, talk about benchmarks. Like, that is honestly how you do it. Then that, I want to ask a bit more about that. I want to get the inside secrets about how you do it. But it's just so good to see us. It really is.
You too. How many surfboards does a man need?
Can we max this screen out so we can see Jamie?
I'm going to enter full screen.
Yes.
Enter full screen.
Full experience.
God, I just want
there we go. Oh my God. I don't know if a man can ever have enough surfboards. I'm not sure. It's compensating for something. That's all I got. It's just a handful of surfboards. Fuck all else. This is life for a little brown man living on the Sunshine Coast. That's it.
Caramel koala.
Guess who arrived to us this morning? My Uncle Mark.
Did he?
He said he runs into you.
Yeah,
randomly.
Yeah, I bumped into him. Last time I bumped into him was at Alex. He was looking great too. He's on that same green smoothie that you two have been on. He just looked, he looks incredible. He doesn't look any different from when I first met him, like over a decade ago. Just the same.
Yeah. He doesn't age.
Yeah, fuck, reverse in middle age, that fella. So he's in Dubai now, is he?
It arrived early this morning, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Much of it.
Yeah. It seems like everything's starting to open up again. I know we've seen that over the last few months. It's kind of like a staggered start, but I know quite a few people that are traveling now, and I don't know. Looks like it might be. You guys would probably have a much better idea about how this whole thing works with your adventures and stuff.
We've noticed that this end of the world is about 2 years or a year ahead of down your end of the world.
Yeah.
Right now, honestly, no one cares about COVID anymore. There's a war, so there's a disease. Fuck it off.
A virus.
Don't wear your mask. We don't care.
Yeah, it's kind of
yeah. We are very much in slow motion. Like it's like a real go slow. Nothing seems to. We go a step forward, it's a few steps back. New Zealand's probably the absolute worst. I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but Arnie Jacinda, she's a savage. She's just like, you guys can all stay here. Don't go anywhere. It's like,
yeah, we heard that.
And you can pay
Yes. So, right. I've got a
Gym
couple of
going. Good.
He's quit.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
retired.
He's
retired. As
Financially.
soon as I seen these greys coming out, I'm like, I'm done. Too old, too beaten up. No,
The industry has lost a legend.
Hey?
I said the industry has lost a legend.
Oh, jeez, fucking hell, I don't know. And they probably all took a big fucking sigh of relief, like, thank fuck he's left the building.
So, and now you look like a mix between Uncle Bully and Gandalf. Are you going to get into some mindset stuff?
How the fuck could you mix? Only Julius could mix Uncle Bully and get like no one else could arrive at that destination but Julius. How do you get no? Actually, don't answer that, bro. How you got that? I can't answer that. I don't know. I am definitely getting into the mental side of things, the mental performance side of things. I've found that I've become very enthusiastic about it. I think it's just getting used to it, to be honest. Just the transition. I mean, you guys would have remembered transitioning from, what you guys are doing in your facilities, the bricks and mortar gym and the clients and what that looks like to, nomadic lifestyle online. Like I remember when you guys first started the online stuff when it was very quiet and you guys were kind of like pioneering and surging your way through. And there would have been, I imagine that period of transition where you're like, fuck, is this for me? Am I doing the right thing? I don't know. I'm sort of in that transition.
There was never any fear because I guess in our story, a lot of the things we've just been forced to do, because remember our gym got shut down. So then we were forced to move into that
other
place.
Facility.
And then when that got shut down, we were forced to go online. So it was,
it's like we're getting pushed in a direction.
Yeah. And if we don't make it, then we're completely fucked. So we just had to. There's no other option.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big believer in when you're kind of getting pushed in a certain direction, things happen, and at the time it might feel like, oh my God, this is horrible, but it's not. Like looking back now, like you can never connect the dots moving forward, but you can connect the dots looking backwards. So now all of those things that happened to us when they were changing all the zones on the Sunshine Coast for gyms, and we were the one of the ones that were like, nope, you're not zoned right anymore. You need to move your gym. At the time, that was, I was pregnant and breastfeeding and all that going on. That seemed like the worst thing ever, but it got us to here, which is the best thing ever. So I think when you're going in the direction you're supposed to, life kind of throws you in that direction, that on the path to go.
And I remember when all that was happening, and it's funny, hey, when you're in the thick of it like that, you kind of feel like it's the beginning of the fucking end. It's like, here we go, because you don't have the luxury of hindsight. We can't rub a crystal ball. We can't tell futures, and we don't know what's just a few steps ahead. And then you turn around and, like you said, you look back through what happened, and you're like, oh, it was the best fucking thing that happened. But at the time, it's like, holy fuck, that door's closing and they're shutting down over here, and it's amazing. And I mean, I was thinking about, I can't remember, I think I've known you guys, it'd be like 12 years maybe, something like that, just over a decade, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a long time.
It's a really long time. And I was reflecting over some of my finer memories, and I think I've eaten Ben and Jerry's with you too. We've gone through bags of lollies, Julius and I. Hey?
Had acai bowls?
We've had acai bowls, that's right. We trained to Neil Young for about 12 hours in your gym.
You did, I quit. I was too depressed.
I remember you and Jeno going, what the fuck is this music? You're like doing muscle ups to Neil Young. You're like, oh, fuck, I'm going, bro. I'll come back and see you at 2 o'clock.
6 months later.
No, like the best memories.
You're like, hey, no trainers here to open up the gym. Is anyone coming in at 5 o'clock, Jamie? It's fucking too much Neil Young. He's gone. He's gone. Oh my God. One of the biggest things, so just for people that are gonna, this is just the best. It's like talking to long lost family. Haven't seen you in ages. This is just the best. So giving people a little bit of an overview of Sharny and Julius, most people will know who you guys are, but I'm going to start from the start. Dear friends to me, like just absolutely love you both. Have known you for ages, and it's just awesome. The tons of books, you guys have written tons of books, best-selling books, about 14. Is that right?
You got the number on the head. Good work.
That's that black magic, Julius. I tell you, that's that brown magic.
It's that sort
That's right. Yeah. So you run a heap of online programs now. Anyone that chucks your name into Google, that it's going to come up with all sorts of stuff. One of the finest videos I think I've watched, and I actually saved the video, and I've watched it many times. Is Julius in the CrossFit Open doing a nude Fran, if I remember right. So send the video.
I can't find that video. Send it to me.
I'll send it now. No, come on, mate. I love it.
You were doing chin-ups or something, and you had no
and thrusters. Not that I was paying attention.
Little tiny ones.
Yeah, little ones. There was just this beautiful pantomime white set of glutes going up and down.
Megaloo.
the big sperm whale was beautiful though, and so we've got a bit of that. And I've lost my train of thought. And nomadic lifestyle, 6 kids, traveling the world, like just incredible. And my intention for reaching out to you guys, above and beyond actually being able to catch up, was like you really, like, from my perspective, I mean I've got no shadow of doubt that you guys have your challenges, and what you do, we don't see all the hard work, the hours and hours and hours and hours of what you do behind the scenes, and how you juggle the many balls of being parents. And I'd imagine, I could be guessing here, but there'd be an element of homeschooling or something like that, running successful online businesses, being in the media, all of these types of things. You really send a message to me, and I would like to think many others, that anything is possible. Like, it really is. I know that sounds cliche, and every wanky Facebook fucking poster is saying something about anything is possible and blah, 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 blah. But let's do one now and tell everybody that everything is possible. But I mean, if the big rig, if the big wheels, the albino sperm whale Megaloo can do nude thrusters and pull-ups way back when, and then travel the world, like anything is possible. Anything. Megaloo. We started touching on it a little bit. Like, would you give us a little elevator speech about you guys and what you do? Just a swift. I know that might be challenging, but how would you? A synopsis, a summary, a swift overview of you two beautiful humans.
Can we tell it as a story?
Oh, love it. Please do.
So I think the best place to start, because we've got quite a few stories, so probably the simple place to start is where we were. You remember our house in Pelican Waters?
Yep.
Remember that?
Yeah.
So we used to
yeah.
We went there for a
and
period.
We used to kind of live this life of borrowing money and buying an expensive car and showing off our lifestyle to everyone we knew. And we were in this sort of business group where everyone was, remember we used to, and our gym was directed at business people. And we lost all of that because we were chasing something that doesn't exist. And, when for us, it was always, you want more. And when you get it, you want more. And then when you get that, you think the happiness is with the next car or the bigger house. And you always bring people around to your house and show off what you have so that they can be kind of like jealous, because if they're jealous, then you feel better about yourself. And as it turns out, all within 3 weeks, we went completely broke. We had to move house. I had to do it on my own. Sharny was pregnant. She was,
and your dad had died as
pregnant.
well. Like,
then,
his dad had died.
Then my dad died, and then Hugo was born, who's our 5th. Yeah, fifth kid.
Too many kids.
All within 3 weeks. And we
I don't
moved
actually
into
know if
this-
you know this story, Jamie. Because I mean,
So, and then what happened was we sat there in Pelican Waters. It's basically a retirement village, and behind it has these fences that are made out of color bond. And I'd take the kids out into the backyard and kick a ball, and it would go bam on the wall. And all the neighbors, we had neighbors behind us, 3 generations of women who would sit out smoking, and they just call our kids cunts and just yell over the fence. And we basically lived there for 2
Yeah,
years
it was
feeling
horrible.
sorry for ourselves. And one thing was really fascinating for us is while we were there, only 2 people ever reached out to us. One was Bruce, who you know, Bruce Campbell, and the other one was Uncle Mark, who's here now. And in that time, we noticed that a lot of business people kind of, when you go broke, they think it's contagious. So it gave us a lot of time to ourselves. And we realized then that we don't actually need people to be happy. Like the being impressive to someone doesn't actually make us content. We're kind of telling this sob story to ourselves for over 1.5 years. And then one day Sharny said to me, it was literally overnight, she said to me, fuck this. I'm never telling this sob story again. We've got to get out of here. So this sob story of where we are doesn't exist anymore. So we can't go telling ourselves this. And then within a week, we managed to get ourselves into it. Like, we were so far behind on rent. Like, we were so bad. That mindset was fucking bad. And we were like
I used
3
to
months.
walk. I remember at the time we released our first cookbook. Remember, I used to
So she'd
drive
drive
to Kunda Park. You know where Kunda Park
from Pelican
is.
Waters in an empty van that's also wants to be repossessed. So she'd go during the day so that the guy, when he came to the house, didn't see the van there.
Wow.
Kunda Park with our cookbooks, heavily pregnant. This is with Magnus now, like super pregnant, and walk around all the industrialists selling books to get money to put into the car. So then she'd drive home, and by the time she got home, we would have spent the day with the kids, and she'd spend the afternoon with the kids, and I'd take the money that she had and I'd run from there to the supermarket, which was I think 5 Ks, and I'd make sure that I got there at 5 to 9 when the lady was putting the stickers on, so we get bread and honey and butter for, on the discount. And that's what we lived off. At that end, we also had
or hot chooks. They discount hot
hot
chooks for
chooks.
like $5. Do you know when
And-
Woolies is selling out for the day?
Yeah.
oats and protein, and I lived off oats and protein. Literally, that's it. Oats with a scoop of protein in it with water, which is such a cheap meal, but it's a complete meal. And anyway, so that was our life for 1.5 years, just that, and just feeling sorry for ourselves. And no one was around. Everyone thought we were contagious. And then Sharny said that, like, we gotta stop focusing on the sob story and actually go ahead. And so things just happened when we changed our mindset.
Quickly,
It just happened. Within 2 weeks, we were going from being completely broke to making about $600 a day. And then it was like $2,000 a day. And then it just exploded because we were the first people around that kind of got into Facebook advertising. And I remember putting that first $5 down on the Facebook ad. It was so much money. I was terrified.
We were panicking, like, is this
Terrified.
we're going to lose?
We couldn't
this
even
$5?
sleep that night. We woke up in the morning.
Wow.
And it was like, whoa, we got a sale. That's amazing. So put the $5 in. It was like gambling. And then just like that.
Wow.
But in that 1.5 years, I remember the 2 of us working. Like, people think it's easy and it just happens like that, but we worked. Hey, fuck, we worked. Like, I
So
remember
it
getting
does,
up
there's
at
so
1
much that
o'clock in the
happens.
morning to do work. So anyway, so then we started making money again, and all these people came back out of the woodwork and wanted to be friends. And I said to Sharny, I just don't want to get back into this lifestyle. This is such a weird life. I can feel the traps of it coming in. We're starting to buy nicer clothes and buy better stuff.
Again.
Look at what private school we've got to send the kids to, because that's got to be impressive where you send your kids to, right? And then one day we just suggested, like, why don't we just sell everything, the little bit that we have collected, just fuck off, like disappear into the world. The kids don't need to go to school. We can do schooling. Like, I don't believe that the schooling system right now is what's going to help my kids in 20 years time when they're out of school, because there's so much is going to change. And initially I was terrified of homeschooling. Sharny was all for it because she had a bad school experience. I loved school. But then we tried a school, and it just became too mundane. And one of the teachers picked on one of our kids. Like, she started picking on one of the kids and we're like, fuck it, let's do it ourselves. What's the worst that could happen? And it's not going to affect us anyway. It's going to affect them.
The kids are gonna be licking windows, but we'll be fine. Fuck him. We'll be all right.
So then I just booked some flights to Bali, which was a massive freak out. Like I did it, paid for it, and then we were like, whoa, what? We're actually doing it? And then it just started happening. And before you know it, we were overseas, and it's now been 6 years of traveling. We've met the most amazing people that we would never, ever, ever have met. Ever. Like
they were all there waiting for you too, which is the weird thing, you know what I mean? Like that was all happening while you're here on the Sunshine Coast, and then you if you hadn't fucking gone, like you said, you've never met these people.
Yeah. And I guess the reason we're sharing this sob story is so that people know you can be in your darkest place. You really can. Like in that moment when we were going through all of that, I had toddlers. I was breastfeeding. I was pregnant. Like as a mother, you can really, in that darkest part of your body not being the same, covered in stretch marks, just like no sleep. And you just head is spinning, postnatal depression. And I was just done. Like the only way out of this is work, and first starting with believing that it's possible. But it's amazing when you have that moment that enough's enough.
Yeah.
How quickly things can change for you, and how quickly opportunities present themselves, and you pivot yourself forward in a better direction.
Yeah. Wow. That's like, I knew a little bit about, you know, a little bit of your guys' story as we've sort of caught up over the years, but not to that degree. Like that's absolutely incredible. Like
you were back in New Zealand. We're still talking to you, but you were back in New Zealand when all of that was going on, and you had all your stuff going on in New Zealand at the time. And then I think as you left, you came back to Australia then. Yeah,
I just sort of reconnected with you guys just before you went to Bali, and you were planning it, you were talking about it. And because I was always so impressed, and like still am to this day, just had the vision. It was just kind of like the school's not, you know, we can teach them when we're, you know, go and travel the world. We don't need things. We don't need possessions. You were coming from that angle of, let's go and have some experiences. Let's go and I remember the whispers at the time, and they're not negative whispers. There was more people like, fuck, like Bruiser and lots of our circle, just like, fuck, are they really going to do this? And people thinking, fucking, and myself included, like I can't even fucking travel to New Zealand without licking a window, going by myself, let alone dragging a family. It's like, what the fuck are they going to do? And so you sort of stand back and observe and zoom out and watch what happened, and like here you guys are doing exactly what you set out to do with that vision way back then, with all the challenges, the turbulence, the life stuff that was going on. And I just think that is fucking incredible. Like I really do.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I think a lot of it though, when you're in that position, so I've now met quite a few people recently because of COVID who are like massively stressed because they don't know where their dollars are coming from. And their safety nets have just disappeared. And it reminds me that I miss that. I don't ever want to go back there, but I do miss the heightened sense of focus you have when you just don't know what the day is going to bring. When you become comfortable, it's so easy to become lazy. Whereas that day is where most of it happened. Hey, fuck. Those are the days where everything was just, every second counted, every decision counted, and we had to make them fast. And it was beautiful.
And we also
such a good time to live.
Yeah, it was. And we didn't know when we started traveling how it would work. All we knew is if it didn't work, because we gave, like, so the kids' toddler beds, all the kids' toys, we gave to women's refuges. And
I remember.
We just gave everything we owned away, and we literally left with a pram because we needed a pram. We had babies.
2 bags.
2 bags and a car seat, I think, and that was it. And we left, and my mum and dad sold our car after we left because we needed the van to get to the airport. So my dad drove the car home, and he sold that for us, like put it online and kind of sold that on Gumtree or whatever over the course of the next few months. But it was so scary because we didn't know, but I guess we knew we could always go home, rebuy possessions and start again. And we also didn't know how business would go. And we've been able to, over these 6 years, still evolve, build, create new programs, We've created a clothing brand, as you know, and now we've got a supplement brand as well that's got 12 different supplements for families. So, I mean, we've been able to still work and evolve, and our business is still growing while we've traveled, homeschooling the kids, which is super important to us. So our kids can read. So I think we're doing okay.
Well, they're ahead of me, Sharny, so they're going all right.
We'll let you know in what 20 years how we've gone with that. Whether we've failed at tactics.
Migaloo will be back in Bali sunning himself while the kids are like, the
whole experiment gone wrong.
I was walking the other day, right? I was walking past. I've thought about this a number of times, but it was one. It jumped out at me again. I was jogging past the cemetery, and I often think about the cemetery, right? In the way Julius is like, okay, where's this going? But in a way of like, I think about some of the little things that I've done over the last few years that I've had to really push myself off a cliff and put the hang glider together on the way down and just launch into a few things, just kind of go for it. And when I went past the cemetery, I often get reminded, like, there's so many, that's where we're going, not that particular cemetery, but fucking when we die, we're gone. Like, that's it. Like, all the ideas you have, the concepts you have, the unsung songs, the poems, all the stuff you didn't do, the coulda, woulda, shouldas, if I only fucking did. So all of that stuff goes to the cemetery or, crematorium, whatever. And that I don't know how to explain this. That is like a squeaky wheel for me. I look at people that I'm surrounded by and people that I can see their talent. I can fucking smell it. I can see their desire and their hunger to do stuff and do things and be things and strive for things. And it's almost like a lot of people just can't get off that cliff. And to circle back to the anything is sort of possible, when I look at you guys and I think, the ideas, the concepts you had, the clarity of vision, and even at the time when it seemed like you got more chance of fucking flying in the air or being able to do what you wanted to do. But here you are on the other side in that process doing it. And I'm sure it's not easy. Though you went for it. You totally executed what it is you wanted to do, like beyond, what would your suggestion be for people, like, because somebody watching this honestly is going to be sitting there going, what the fuck?
While you answer this, I can hear my kids going, mummy, and we don't have a nanny, or I just got to make sure they're not killing themselves.
Yes.
Give me 2 minutes.
So
get Jedi onto them.
Let's just talk to you, Jamie. What was stopping you from doing these things straight away?
For me is, or generally speaking, it's just kind of fear, and
what of?
I think fear of the unknown is probably a big one. You only know what you know, and not knowing something perturbs me a bit, freaks me out a little bit sometimes.
So what is it about that was scary to you? Like, what was it? Like, you're making, they say there's 3 decisions. Either you do it or you don't do it, or you decide to sit on the fence and think about it, do nothing. Generally speaking, we find that the biggest fear is actually what you're afraid of, what people will think of you, or you're afraid of upsetting things around you, like the normal, the status quo in your life, the comfort level in your life. But one of the biggest freedoms you can ever give yourself is realizing that I don't think about you. Whatever you do, it's no bearing on my life. If you go ahead and do it, go for it. I'm too worried about me, and you're too worried about you to think about what I'm doing. So if you're just afraid of what everyone else is thinking, that's a massive trap. And I guess when we go back to that story, is like the freedom of knowing that people just actually don't really care.
Yeah.
You get the Facebook commenters that's their job, is to bag someone else out, but that's because of where they're at in their life. You'll get it all the time. I'm sure you'll see it on your social media. Someone will just say something that's so hurtful, and in the past would derail you. But when you've got your own stuff, like you said, what's the worst that can happen? You're going to die. Everyone's going to forget you anyway.
Yeah, if they haven't already. I
Yeah.
must admit that thing on the I wouldn't because of your guys, large online following and presence, you probably get a few people firing shots. I have a very modest, very small online following, and I get the odd person chiming in. And one of the best things I've learned in my experience is it's like a boomerang. It has nothing to do with me, and likewise, it has nothing to do with you guys, and everything to do with them. And as soon as I use that metaphoric, it's a boomerang. They're like throwing that shit at me, and it's just swinging up and coming on back and going to catch them upside the fucking head because it's all about.
Well, we get it daily. It's just we get like trolls, whatever you want to call it. People just having a bad day. They're literally in a really bad place in their life, and they're reflecting that at us through whatever, hating on me for whatever's going on, stretch marks or something I've done or something I'm wearing or just anything. And I think because we've been doing this a long time, we just realize it's them. They're obviously in a really dark place in their life, which is sad. And at least if they're flinging something at me, and if that makes them feel better, and they've left someone else alone for the day, like their husband or their wife or their kids or someone close to them, then we've done something kind. So, because often
interesting way of looking at it.
When you fling something at someone, it kind of makes you feel better. You think it does. You're like, oh, but it's just honestly them. And I mean, we deal with it. You would as well. Like people lose weight, they start to feel good and they're confident. And the people closest to them going, you're getting too skinny. Oh my God, what are you eating? And they're starting to, instead of going, wow, or you're getting sick, instead of going, wow, you're actually beautiful, you're amazing. It's a reflection of, okay, if this person, say, my husband is now lost all this weight, he's looking amazing, is he going to leave me for someone else? Or, they're worried about them as well, even when you're in a relationship. So if you're losing your weight and your partner is like panicking, they're saying to you, you're getting too skinny, but meanwhile they're thinking, how's this new them going to affect me?
100% correct. Yeah.
And I guess also to answer your question, I remember my dad, his whole life was with his working father that would just work and sacrifice to give to his family. And he always had this dream of owning a Harley Davidson. Now he was this little fat nerdy guy with bald hair and Coke bottle glasses, and he always wanted to look like a tough biker. It was like a dream. And I remember once he bought a car, this was in New Zealand, he bought a Mazda, and he went in the draw to win a prize, and one of the prizes was a Harley Davidson, and the other and you could choose a Harley Davidson or a boat or like white goods or something.
Wow.
To one of those places. And he actually won. He won this competition. So he had his chance to finally buy himself a Harley Davidson, or not buy it, like he was going to get given a fat boy. Yeah, it's in. And his little eyes lit up. He was super pumped, and he thought about it, and then the next morning he decided he was going to give his 4 kids the vouchers for white goods instead. And so he never got his Harley Davidson. And then he just kept working and working. He's like, oh, once I pay off the house, then I'll get one. And then he paid off the house. And then he's like, once I retire, I'll get one. And then the day of his retirement, so he was supposed to retire the very next day, he was going to go on sabbatical for a year and basically enjoy himself and have a good life. He went out into the garden to go and shoot a rabbit that was eating his flowers, slipped, fell, and shot himself in the back and died. And that always sits in my mind. It's like, he could have just, why fucking wait? If you want the Harley, get the fucking Harley, because you don't know when you're going to die. You don't know when, because how you say you look at graveyards. For some sicko fucking reason, I always think in my head, this could be the last good day. And that doesn't mean I'm going to die. It could be someone gets sick or COVID happens or something. This could be the last good day of your life. And then from now on, you'll have some kind of stress that lasts forever. You could catch cancer. Your kids could get cancer, or someone get hit by a car, or financial ruin. You just don't know. And that literally just, I could be having a good day, doing nothing, and this little voice goes, this could be the last good day. It just fucking sits there.
Just to fucking let you know, Megaloo. Do you thrusters with no pants on, cunt? Could be your last chance.
That's it. That's honestly that pervades my mind daily.
Yeah. And for me, because I battle with the fear of failure and the fear of, what if this doesn't work? And a long time ago, and I still battle with this daily. I think we all do, but just thinking, you know what? It's not failure. It's a lesson. Everything that you do, whether you start that new business or quit that job that's stressing you out and you go and do a career change of something you've actually always wanted to do, but there's this fear that's holding you back. And what if it doesn't work? Well, what if it does? And also, if it doesn't, well, I bet you'll learn a lot along the way, and it'll get you onto something that you're supposed to be doing anyway. So, and life is so short. Like it's crazy. I was watching those science things where the size of the universe and the Milky Way and all of that, and how minute we are.
Oh, I know.
It doesn't even matter. Just do it.
I know. It's like you realize you're nothing. And then all of a sudden, nothing, you then realize that, oh, hold on, no, I am something. And then when you think that you're something, it's like, oh, fuck, hold on a second, I'm fucking nothing again. It's like this fucking, fuck, yeah.
I found that we've never, ever regretted taking that chance and jumping. But I feel like we take so much time in that panic zone where shouldn't we, that if we just take that chance, it really does push you in a direction that you're supposed to be going anyway.
Yeah, such a great statement though. Like, I just think, like, I'm sitting here getting fucking fired up. If other people are watching this, it's just like, it's such a great statement. You really do just have to go for it, don't you? Like, I mean, Julius, your frame of reference is like, that's the pointy end of the spear, in my opinion. Like, that's, you know, that experience with your dad and stuff like that's massive.
Yeah,
fucking just buy the fucking Harley, you know, like that message to people. Just go on that holiday, just take your kids somewhere, just go and fucking skydive, just go
start
and
that business as well. Like,
start that business.
If you're passionate about something, it could be lettuces, then start growing lettuces and become the lettuce guru. Whatever it is, we like sit in it. We know we're passionate about that one thing, but then we're working in a job we hate. And you just don't know when your last day is. So just do what makes you happy. We're not telling people to go into debt for a Harley Davidson.
Go and start that lettuce business you fuckers always wanted.
Do it and blame Jamie. It's also, I guess, when you die, let's say you're 60 or 70 now and you're laying on your deathbed in the hospital and everyone's kind of said their goodbyes to you. Do you think you're ever going to ask yourself and say to yourself, man, I wish I'd worked an extra day?
Yeah. Fuck, I wish I did that late night.
Yeah.
I should have done that. I should have fucking done that.
I'm so disappointed.
Can I say
You're
something?
a fucking useless cunt. You should have done it.
I want to add something as well, because I feel like people will say, but how? Like, how do I even do it? Like, I don't know. Where do I start? And I'll share a very quick story with us. And that is, before we even left Australia, I had this feeling inside that I one day wanted to start a supplement brand. We're already in fitness. I was passionate about natural ingredients, protein powder that children can have, as well as mums and dads and grandparents, because, you know, those protein powders, you're drinking it and your kids are saying, Mummy, can I have a sip? And you're like, no, you can't have this one. It's because it's got chemicals in it. They can't have all that sort of stuff. Yeah. I had this in my head. I mean, it was a dream that, we'd love to start our own supplement brand. I had no idea how. Like, how do I even begin to find bottles, labels, ingredients, factories made? Like, you just don't even understand. But I put that thought out there that that's what I wanted to do. So years later, an opportunity presented itself, because I didn't want to become an ambassador for someone else's. We really wanted our own, that was ours, that we chose the ingredients, that was 100% our brand. We didn't know how. So I put that idea out there, knowing I'm definitely going to do it. I just know that whatever is needed to be done will come at the time, rather than panicking and thinking, oh, I don't know how, forget the idea. And it did. Sure enough, I didn't even know it, but all these years later, we've created our own brand. And I feel like sometimes we think we don't know how, so we disregard it instead of going, you know what, I want to, and I know that the how will come.
Yeah. And I think sometimes too, and I mean, I think that's a great example. I think sometimes other people's influences and suggestions can get in the way. You know, if you bring up the concept or the idea, and then of course other people's fears, you know, they're like, oh,
do they?
what
Oh, don't you? Oh,
No.
Yeah, have you thought about this? It's like, you know, and try and give you the shaky wheels. Now you think, fuck them, just
Never tell anyone your idea. They can find out later.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Just
a
do
big
it.
not
And
telling
I'm
you
also,
what you're gonna do. Don't tell people what you're gonna do.
Also, what that does, what I found is if I tell someone what I'm going to do, and then either they're negative and that crushes you, or they're like, fuck yeah, that's awesome, then you kind of feel like you've already achieved it, then you don't have to do the work anymore.
Yeah, they've already given you the
Don't do it
backbone.
anyway. So you're better off just keeping it to yourself and having it as a surprise.
Yeah, but there's also what is it called, like a knife's edge to when it's like a
Double-edged sword.
double-edged sword to that, and that is when you say want a fitness goal. Sometimes if you tell someone you're about to do a marathon, it holds you accountable. So I guess for yourself, you've got to make that decision. You got to make that decision by telling people, is it going to be a bad thing and they're going to talk me out of it, or is it going to motivate me because people know to force me to do it? So I guess you've got to make that decision for yourself. I know for Julius, he prefers to not tell anybody and just. But if you've got people around you that are going to shut you down, and unfortunately, sometimes we do have those people in our lives that are the panic, that are going to, you tell them an idea and they're going to tell you all the reasons it won't work. You kind of you don't tell that person your idea.
Yeah, stay away from those fucking people.
You don't need people
to be telling you.
Those fuckers are out at Pelican Waters. Don't talk to those fuckers. They're no fucking good. Hey, who like, so in your travels, I know you guys alluded to the fact that you've met some amazing people. You've no doubt got incredible experiences, majestic memories, and all of that stuff. Is there a you know, as a collective or individually, is there anybody that jumps out at you as very memorable, a person that made an impact on you during your travels, and where they're from, or a family, or what you learned? I'm sure you have.
Here you go.
So for us, we were in Thailand with the kids. We were about to go to the Philippines, but so we do very organic travel. So until COVID hit, obviously that changed things, and we've been in Dubai waiting for COVID to blow over. And we've done a little bit of travel, but not as much. So when we were in Thailand, we were going to the Philippines, but we only book our flights like 3 days out, and we just choose spare of the moment where we feel like we need to go. So I got a message from somebody that said, there's an orphanage that needs help in Cambodia. Would you guys like to go and film and help? And we're like, this would be so good for the kids. So we looked at the flight to Cambodia. It's not far. We're like, boom. We didn't like to travel more than 3 hours on a plane with kids because the entire plane hated us by the end of it. So we'd make sure it was just a 3 hour.
Julius flight. Is up the back. Yeah.
Screaming. One said, "Mommy, I've shit my pants," and then it's just like.
Did you say Julius was screaming, "I just shit my pants"?
There was one flight. I'm going to interject. There was one flight where I don't know what we'd eaten, but two of the kids had shat their nappies like out. I was in the toilet cleaning it, and you know, a toilet in a airplane is a little tiny table, right? So I take the nappy off, but he hadn't finished, and it's going at me, and I'm catching it and putting it back onto the, like, sliding it on. I lean back too far, the door opens, and I can see Sharny's way at the opposite end of the plane with the other kid that shit himself over there. Meanwhile, there's guys around her saying, "Oh, who farted?" But it's actually one of our kids.
They're blaming each other.
And then I hear two of my other kids stand up and start punching each other and swearing at each other. Full volume. Fuck you.
Oh no.
That was on a 2 hour flight. So a lot longer.
Now they're older, it's better.
Oh man. I used to get anxiety for traveling. Those days were terrifying. Like, who's going to cause trouble? But anyway, you carry on with that.
But it was all because we were worried about what other people think on the plane. Now we're like, let's just, who cares? People get it. Like, if I hear a kid screaming on the airplane, I'm like, you got this.
Go, little buddy. You got this, little buddy.
So anyway, we flew to Cambodia. We got there, and everything. When you're in Cambodia, you get around on a tuk-tuk, which is like this little cart with a scooter on the front, which is the coolest. Like, I loved getting around like that. We got there. Magnus got conjunctivitis from all the dust and everything like that. We're like, oh my gosh. So Julius decides to, let's Google where the closest ocean is. So we find out, we're looking on maps, and we work out if we drive 6 hours, we get to the bottom of Cambodia and we can get a boat across to these cute little Cambodian islands. So like, sure, let's do that. So we get everything, we get down there, we book this tiny little
It was a
villa.
terrifying drive.
It was like, oh my gosh, the seatbelts don't work in the cars. Like, it's just like,
oh, fucking hell.
Anyway, we got the kids kind of trying to keep them still in the car for 6 hours in a bus.
Oh.
Anyway, we get there, we get in the ocean water. It's great. We're there for a week. And we're at this tiny little villa on this island. We bump into this American guy in the restaurant we're eating at on this, it's part of the villa, like a little restaurant. And he's like, oh my God, is that all your kids? Oh my God. Sorry, my American accent is really shit. And he obviously is, he's shocked.
He's a Texan. Yeah.
He's so shocked at the amount of kids we've got. So we got talking to him. His name's Steve. He owns the resort that was on this island. He's there for 2 days, checking on it. Then he flies back to Hong Kong where he lives, where he's got his family. So he's literally there
2 days every year.
2 days every year.
Wow.
And we're chatting to him, having dinner with him. He's like one of our best friends now. We ended up buying into his resort. So we became partners in this resort, which has been really bad through COVID, by the way.
Yeah.
Investment.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's like one of our closest friends. And I feel like that is by chance. Literally, we didn't even know these islands existed at the bottom of Cambodia. They're paradise. We're there. We bump into him only because he's just like gobsmacked. In China, they have 1 child. In Hong Kong, they have 1 child. So he's looking at us going, oh my God, this is like a
fucking overachievers.
My restaurant. What is going on? And he is like one of our closest friends. The people that he's introduced us to, that are now close friends, like, is insane. That one moment in time, if we had have said no to Cambodia, if we were going to the Philippines, and by chance we ended up going to help this orphanage, that's a crazy story for us. We've got so many of those stories. That's one for me.
I was going to say you'd have lots of those. That's pretty incredible though, like all of those stars to align and for that to happen. Wow.
For me, there's more, it's the experiences. Some things that I've seen while we've been traveling that just like melt your heart and set your soul on fire. One of them was, and this is easy for anyone to do, is in Bali, if you go to North Bali on New Year's and you just sit on the mountaintop there, everyone in Bali gets fireworks, and everyone. So they all buy fireworks, and for the week leading to New Year's, there's fireworks going off all everywhere. And we were staying on this little villa that overlooked this bay. I can't remember the name of the bay. But on New Year's, the entire bay for 10 minutes lit off their fireworks, and the whole bay lit up with fire. It was the biggest, like we've seen the Burj Khalifa, next to the Burj Khalifa here where they do that, which is supposedly the best in the world. Nothing compares to that Bali one. It was like the power of people all in
those home fireworks just going on. Not very safe, I'm sure.
We had some of those in Rotorua too, back home in New Zealand.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
And now the other experience that just, man, it made me just tear up with joy was we were in Cambodia again. Most of our best experiences were in Cambodia. And we used to pay this, I got into spearfishing because I'd never done it before till we started traveling. I used to pay this guy in his longtail boat. He'd come and he'd park out the front of the resort for a month, was I think $500 or something like that. He'd sit out the front there and we'd go out anytime we wanted. He'd just wait in the boat. We had all our spear guns on there and stuff. And I used to take the kids out with us. And one evening we went, usually it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd whistle, he'd wake up and we'd all get onto the boat and we'd go around the island. His dad was the police chief or something, so he paid him off so we were allowed to fish. And anyway, the kids would come, and Cambodians are like children. They're the most special type of people. And they would all come as well. They'd love it because they could get to go out fishing. And they fish, like honestly, they fish with plastic bags filled with sand. That's their sinker. And their hook is like the hook is a pin or a safety pin folded in half like that. And that's how they'd fish. And then they'd cook it on the boat, like it's a wooden boat. and they make a little fire.
And the fish they catch are
and
this
they catch
big,
little baby fish and they put it on.
and they
So-
eat them.
So for me to go spearfishing, like, they didn't even know there were big fish there. And so anyway, I remember this one night, it was just on sunset. I could barely see anything left, and I got really addicted to spearfishing. I'd go down and I'd try and see this one more fish. I got to get one more fish. And I shot this fish. I came up and I really wanted to like slam it on the deck like a big hero because it's huge. It was this big fish. And I came up and I just put my hands onto the boat like this, and I was ready to throw it in. And I just heard the giggling, and all of the kids and all of the Cambodians were all on the boat laughing and giggling and eating these little tiny fish. And behind them, the sun was just dropping over the horizon, and my kids were just covered in fish and stinking, and they were just wearing underpants, and it was the most raw.
Oh,
There was not money. It was just such a pure experience of life. And I just sat there just staring with this cheesy grin on my face.
And then you threw the they were like, ah, because the
It was
fish is
just-
so big.
it is fucking 30 kilos of groper or something.
One
Oh
thing
my
about
God.
Cambodian people, which made us really understand possessions mean nothing. You can keep
Yeah.
chasing that bigger dream home, or that
Mm.
new pair of shoes, or that brand new outfit that's come out, or what your neighbor's got, you want that new blender, or whatever it is that you're chasing for happiness. Cambodians generally, like, they have nothing. They literally are the happiest
Oh,
people,
so happy.
and they are just smile and laugh over the simplest things. So for us, we spend a lot of time in Cambodia. We're like, they're just the kindest, happiest people that have nothing, and they're happy. Their
Well,
lives
so
are
here,
so
there's another.
yeah.
Have we got time to tell you about another person? That's
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
yeah.
So I met this guy. His name's Tohir. He's 25 or 26.
He might be a bit older
um,
now, but when we met him, he was about that,
He
wasn't
was
he?
about that age, and we met this guy. And his story goes that when they had the Khmer, or the like the Vietnam War, a Vietnamese soldier came through his village, and his parents were quite wealthy at the time. They had like a lumber mill or something. Came through, and his mother said, "We've got to look after this man." So his father took him in, and they started looking after this guy. 2 days later, the father's in the bushes in the lumber mill with the guy, and Tohir's there. He's about 2 or 3, I think, at the time, maybe 4. He's really young, and the guy shoots his father in the head for a pig, kills him.
Oh,
And his
wow.
mother says to him, "We have no man left in the house. You have to go find a town to make money to support us." This is at 4 years old. So he walks up the riverbank on his own at 4 years old for, I think it was like 70 kilometers to find a town, and started working in the streets there. And he ended up, like, he was just working as like a peddler, like helping people on the street, and with their little carts, right? And then some tourists, like, he was a really friendly person. He was really good at it. He didn't get into the bad side of things. And then the local hotel right next door to where he used to peddle, eventually, when he was old enough, said, "Will you come work for us for a little bit?" So he went and he worked there, and he put his, like, he works. Fuck, this kid can work. Hey, like, he's like, he doesn't know anything else but work. Like, he just works, and with a big smile on his face. So he worked there, and then this family came and visited once, and they liked him, so they paid for him to go to university to study hospitality. And so he went and he studied hospitality, and then he was able to bring his sister into work. So he went and found his mother where she used to live, found his sister and his mother, and brought them to where he lives in Siem Reap. Then his brother had a car accident and became, I don't know, had some kind of disability. So he nearly had enough money to get what he wanted. So then he bought his brother a car so he could drive and go and pick people up from the airport, and he would have a job. So he borrowed the money, like loaned the money, and was paying off the loan. Then he borrowed money to buy a house so that his family could be together. Like, he literally put his family together.
Oh my God.
And we
He's
met
amazing.
him, and he's like,
amazing.
to meet him, he's just like a lovely person who's just got such a happy, joyful thing. But when you hear his story, it's like, what? My
And
God.
that's how we met him. Was another insane story. We decided, Julius had this crazy idea when we were in Siem Reap, let's take the kids camping. So we hired this company, this guy that has this company, to take us up to stay in these tents. And I was like, the kids are little. I'm like, this sounds really stressful. Carting, we had to carry all the kids, hiking all the way to these tents, these glamping tents that weren't glamping, by the way. Anyway, stay in these tents for the night. And then we had to hike back. he was working for this tourism company. So the owner went with us, or the guy that kind of ran it went with us, and Tohia was working with them at the time, and we met him. So we spent 24 hours, and it's just kind of helped carrying the kids, and we were chatting to him, and then we just got along with him so well. We stayed in touch with him. Every time we're back in Cambodia, Tohia, we're here, and he's come to visit us and things like that. So that's how we met him, by accident. So just when you feel like you want to do something in life, you just don't know who you're going to meet.
That's what it, yeah.
That's going to literally pivot you, or there's something, I believe everything is going in a direction that you need to go. And that might sound all weird and spiritual if you're not into that kind of thing. But if you just really, positive mindset is important. And just believe that you're on the right path is a lot less stressful than feeling like life is shit.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Off a break.
Yeah.
I'm on the right track. I'm where I need to be. I'm right where I need to be right now, and I'm happy, and I'm going in the right direction. I think that helps.
I think that's
anxiety.
That's a key thing though. Just even if you don't have much, and this is a mistake I made when I didn't have much, I was looking for all these external things that I thought were going to bring me happiness and bring some sunlight into my fucking day. When you realize, when you eventually become aware of the fact that it's less about all of these external things, and it's more about perhaps looking at what makes you truly happy and putting a bit of that in your day, whatever that looks like, within reason, obviously. But I think that's a real important part.
That's a good point, actually, because I mean, we're talking here about money and traveling and all that sort of shit, and the thing that truly makes us the most happy, and also the thing that's brought us the most out of our life, is actually helping people. When we knew you, we were always looking for the next trick to make more money. But then we lost it all. We lost it all doing that. But ever since we decided to, like, enough's enough, sob story, let's stop worrying about us. Let's just help people. And then, fuck, if you don't ever make any money, at least you feel good emotionally. Like there's this emotional currency and this financial currency, and the emotional currency means so much more. And helping people is such a beautiful thing to do, and it comes back to you way more. Like that's a boomerang.
And I think that's where we all aligned really well as friends over the years, because we share that same vision. And as you said right at the start of this conversation, like I firmly believe you guys to be authorities in the industry, and you were paving a way before many people were doing it within this industry, and it was driven. And probably why you were so successful and are so successful in your new lines of business is because you're helping people. You're in it for the right reasons. And both myself and you guys, we've known many people that are not in the industry for the right reasons, and they don't last. They get found out eventually that there's not that integrity and being driven to make a difference. If that's absent, they're fucked. They won't last.
We get people often that are just having that bad day and want to comment and say, "Oh, it must be good to be rich and holidaying all the time." And it's like, hang on a minute. First, like, we don't obviously reply.
Listen here, you little cunt.
I think to myself, we've been through fucking hell and back. Yeah. And we have nearly been on the street that broke. And we've turned that around. And because I'm successful, we're successful now, and we've made some money, I'm not going to apologize for that. When we first started traveling, we weren't paying electricity and rent and phone bills and all that stuff that you live in day to day. So we had that spare money to pay for cheap accommodation and be able to travel cheaply as a big family, as nomads. We weren't traveling rich. We didn't leave traveling rich. We've just continued to stay authentic and have integrity and go every day, how can I make a difference? And Julius, like, how can I help someone else today to live a better life? And I feel like when you live authentically, I'm not going to apologize because we are successful now, when we worked to get here, our asses off. Hey,
the other thing also,
100%.
We just down the road, there's a place called the Burj Al Arab, which is the most expensive hotel on earth. We've stayed there. And
one night, by the way, some people stay a month. Some people
We live.
I'm like,
So that place is huge, and you can only. But the thing that strikes me is it's just another box to put your head down and sleep in.
it is.
Life happens outside, or with the people that are around you, not where you live and how fancy it has to be. So you can have the most fantastic, amazing experience by living in a backpackers if you want to. That's cheap.
Yeah.
But you still
exactly.
get to see the things. I mean, backpackers are usually the closest thing to the most beautiful parts.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So like for us, this whole 7-star hotel, we go and have a night away, and Josh, our elder son, looked after the little kids while we had one night staycation. And we got a menu with, you know, what pillow you want to sleep with. Do you want it hard and big, small and small?
Similar. Yeah. And sorry, what was the pillow? What
was the butler?
And I'm like, what? Like, you'll just have just as much of a nice experience in a tent or a camper van or a backpackers than staying in a resort, choosing which pillow you want to sleep with.
Oh, honestly, that luxury is like, it's this feeling that I reckon they sell you luxury based off this. You don't know how good it is. But I'm telling you, we've seen luxury, we've experienced luxury.
Especially being in Dubai.
Dubai is the most luxurious city on earth.
Yeah.
And it's no different.
Yeah.
It is absolutely
totally agree. I think too, it sends a weird message. I often think about it like in the fitness industry. I don't know. I think you guys had left, but there was a couple of really big facilities that went up on the coast. And they had all the fucking flashing lights. They had all the best gear. They had, you know, they rallied all the good trainers. And of course, you know, we had our little shed in fucking Warana and many other facilities like ours. But I always thought in the back of my mind, the issue with that, with all the flashing lights and the luxury, is I think it sends a weird message to you. It's kind of like, especially with exercise and fitness, it's almost like the business class of exercise. You kind of get there and you think, I fucking made it. You know, I've made it. I'm training here. I've got the best trainer. I've got the fancy fucking this and the $2,000 barbell and all the rest. But if you look at a lot of the amazing athletes of our time, they all trained in fucking shit. Like Michael Phelps, the swimmer, he trained at the YMCA. Like boxers, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, they all trained in shitty little, the All Blacks culture, you know, there's another one.
It's a very New Zealand thing, that, hey?
Yeah, it's like a Spartan type. Let's train, and you feel like an underdog. You feel like you're training in the shadows. You're training in, you know, rough. I don't know. I think about that stuff every now and then. I don't know if I personally would last in a facility like that.
See, can I counter that? Having lived in New Zealand and Australia, knowing the New Zealand lifestyle of the tall poppy thing, I guess, is if you haven't suffered, then you haven't deserved. But it is actually okay to go into one of those gyms and enjoy it.
Yeah. Do you get the pillow though? Is what when you finish
you
your back squats,
you don't always have to wear the rugby shorts to the gym. You can actually wear nice stuff.
Mate, I wear boardies now, mate. Thank you very much. Fucking hell.
It's crazy because Australia and New Zealand are so similar in you just don't talk yourself up and be all like, just calm down with the whole arrogance thing. Just be humble. Whereas when you travel around the world, it's different in other parts of the world. It really, really is, where people love that. Talk yourself up. We want to know how good you are. And for me, I feel uncomfortable. I'm like, oh my God, this is really awkward.
But for some people, that's who they are, and that's okay. It's just not us.
So you just learn that. But the one thing I've noticed with traveling for a long time now is we have all this crazy, as you know, the media love a good negative story, and they love controversy and what the controversial stories of what's going wrong in the world. But 99% of the world, every country you go to, 99% of people are kind, with a good heart and loving. You have like a teeny freckle or grain of sand of people that are bad or evil. So there's good people everywhere. It doesn't matter what color your skin, your race, how much money you earn, what job you have. It's irrelevant. You really just meet good people in every little nook and cranny of the world. And for us and our kids, and homeschooling, that was priority for us, for our kids to accept people for their heart and who they are, not what they can get from someone, not because of the color of their skin and what job they have or what money's in their bank account. So I feel like we've nailed that to this point, that our kids generally just love everybody. Like they really, so having things, you can't, like you said, you run past the cemetery.
Yeah.
So you can't take things with you.
Yeah, it's not going with you. Yeah.
You can have those memories, and memories and experiences don't have to cost money. You can go to the playground. You can go to the beach. I mean, Australia's filled with the most amazing free experiences that cost nothing. That is what is important, and that's where you'll get your happiness, not from how much money's in your bank account. So I think if you remember that every day and go to bed or finish your day going, you know what, I did this with my family today. I had this experience that cost me nothing, and that's what I'm going to hold in my heart today. That's where you're going to be happy, and then everything else will come along with that.
That is the best. Ladies and gentlemen, Sharny and Julius, two magnificently beautiful human beings. That is absolutely incredible. Huh?
Before we go, can you please give us one piece of knowledge that you want to give us?
One piece of knowledge. Jesus fucking Christ.
We
A small piece?
As big or small as you want. Like a pillow.
Yeah, depends what pillow you want. Look, I think we've touched on it a little bit. There's something I've learned to believe and actually strongly align with, is that we would know, or you guys would know, and I certainly knew it. You know how they used to say, you are what you eat? Remember that saying? I firmly believe now you are what you think. And if I was to give a little bit of knowledge, it's a bit of a hybrid. It's a mixture of something I've learned and something I also think myself. So I think understanding that everything starts with thinking. We can decide anything. The worst thing could happen to us in our lives, and we get to decide what that means, which is a superpower. And a guy that I've recently learned a fair bit of stuff off, he says it like this, like, if that is a problem, whatever the problem could be, and you could put anything in there. It could be poverty, could be sickness, it could be fucking shit job, really unhappy, it could be depression, could be anything. So if that's a problem, then it's the problem. This isn't the issue at all. It doesn't matter what it is. That's not the issue. It's what we think about the problem is basically the issue. So what we, fuck, I think I've confused myself. What we think about the thing, what the thing isn't the issue. Sorry, there we go. I'm fucking confused.
I get it.
I was thinking about it. The thing isn't the issue. It's what you think about the thing is the problem. There we go.
Yeah. No.
So that's my bit of advice. If we get a bit caught up on things, and actually what you said before, Sharny, about going to bed with a full heart and thinking about things, like even if you're living in squalor, even if you've got fucking nothing, if you go to bed and you decide that what you've got, if you've got your kids with you, if you've got a loving partner, if you're living somewhere nice, you could be sleeping under a bridge, you got a house, or you could be homeless living down at Happy Valley in the Sunshine Coast, but you're on the Sunshine Coast and you're underneath the fucking boardwalk living there. It's all about what we think. If we think we're fucking homeless and it's shit, then it's shit. If we think we're living in the most beautiful place in the world and I'm right next to the ocean here under the boardwalk living my best fucking life, then you're living your best life. So the thing isn't the issue, it's what we think about the thing is the problem.
Our perception of it, it's our perception, and we can change our perception at any moment.
100%.
I agree. And that makes life so much easier to live it that way. Like, just perception, it's just better.
Yeah. Guys, where can people find you? Where can they follow you? So
Sharny and Julius
2407 Road.
Our websites, our social media handles, TikToks, all that stuff is just Sharny and Julius. Our
top of the Burj Khalifa, up there.
Yep. Sale building, choosing my pillow.
Looking for hard and long
hard and
pillow
thick today, or
and a pillow. I'm going to get a photo of you two and me. So give us a little wave. If it doesn't go on social media, it fucking never happened. All righty. I absolutely love you two. And thank you so much for taking time to chat with me. That was fucking incredible. Thank you for taking me on a journey.
We'll
Hey?
we'll hopefully get to see you and have some Ben and Jerry's really soon.
And
I mean,
some red frogs, some lollies, and some Neil Young.
One thing we can't get, and you can only get in Australia, is Alan's lollies.
Oh fuck! You want me to send you some? Will they make it? They won't.
I've asked Uncle Mark to bring some in the suitcase, so hopefully he hasn't forgotten.
Oh, Jeno, give Jeno a cuddle from me, and I'll hopefully see you guys really soon. Go well. Thank you so much.
Mwah.
Bye, Jamie.
See you guys. See you, Mick.
Bye.
Mwah.